What's up, Paul here from Guitar World, and today we're going to be checking out one of the hottest and most talked about releases from IK Multimedia, the AmpliTube TONEX Pedal. Also, stay tuned. At the end of this video, we're going to capture one of our favorite amps using TONEX here at Guitar World, an Egnator Armageddon. Let's check it out. TONEX, as well as the TONEX pedal, as you see here, is IK's latest amplifier ecosystem with the most advanced amplifier modeling, known as AI machine modeling, or if you will, capture technology. The TONEX pedal contains a staggering assortment of near-accurate captures of amplifiers, cabinets, and pedals, also known as tone models. But the TONEX pedal's most persuasive feature is that it lets you store and play these tone models live on stage or take it to a recording session, thanks to its portable and intuitive pedal format that also allows for quick hands-on control. Try not to think of this TONEX as a guitar effects processor because that's not necessarily what it does. There are plenty of other amp effects floorboards and guitar modeling pedals that cover that space. I like to think of TONEX as a powerful amplifier pedal that you can build a sophisticated guitar rig around to play live or record with, or a pedal that stores a vast library of super realistic amp models you can use anytime and anywhere. You have access to 150 customizable presets of a virtual amp rig with 3 assignable preset foot switches on its face and 50 banks to scroll up and down from. Keep in mind, you can do everything from the pedal's face just like a normal amp. You can easily see the primary controls are very much the same as a traditional amp with volume, gain, and 3-band EQ. But what's cool is holding down the parameter knob allows access to secondary functions like the onboard noise gate, presence, and depth. Consider the depth more like a density or resonance low-end EQ. There's also the compressor and 5 stereo reverbs, and you can tweak these parameters on the fly. On top, you can quickly scroll through the stored presets with the preset knob, or cycle through individual tone models using the model knob. It's also where you can add or bypass cabinets and engage the VIR tech to adjust the X and Z axis of its dual virtual mics and blend them. Let's add some reverb to that. Let's try this. Some compression. In use, you're using one captured amp model at a time. So if you want a stereo rig, you'll need 2 TONEX pedals. Not that that is a bad thing. For connections, there's a single input jack, left and right outputs, headphone jack, MIDI connectivity, an external jack, and a USB port. Finally, simply connecting the pedal via USB to your computer and using the TONEX app, I find, is a more efficient way to go about auditioning the incredible collection of amps, cabinets, and pedals, and if you need to, edit parameters, and ultimately storing your favorite tone models into the pedal and assigning them to the switches using TONEX's library intact. In the TONEX app, you can see you have the tabs for player, where you get to see basically what the model up on the screen from the app. And of course, you can scroll through all of IK's models down here on the bottle. It gives you all the information on each of them. Pick one, try a different one. There's so many to choose from. And an easy way to go about it is you can go to collections, where you get to see, narrow down what you're looking for, whether it's California style, high gain heroes, high gain chug, hot rods, classics. You even have a whole pedal section where you have some of the most popular and legendary drive pedals that you can choose from as well. It's a great thing to see over here. And then you can get out of collections, and we're back up here and can choose all these models. Of course, then there's also the librarian tab over here, which you'll see in a little bit, which basically shows you all your presets that you've loaded onto your TONEX pedal. So you get to see where they are, where they're located, and you can make all your adjustments here as well. But let's get back to what we started with. We're going to model the third channel of the Ignator Armageddon, which is the lead channel, and this is a great sounding channel. We love it. That's why we're going to model it. The TONEX model is great because it just walks you through this real easy so you can model and capture the sound of your amp. Obviously, we're going to be using IK Multimedia's AX.io as our audio interface, which is real easy. And also we have a microphone on the 412 cabinet. So we are capturing the sound of the cab and the head. So we'll show you how easy it is to make all the connections to do this. So the great thing about the model is it just easily walks you through it. So we'll go to the next step, which is what we're going to do is we're going to model a guitar, not a bass. Then we go to the next step. What are we doing? Amp and cab TONEX allows you to do, of course, complex rigs, stomp boxes, the amp itself, and a stomp and an amp, if you will. But we're doing an amp and cab here, so that's what we're selecting. Move on to the next. Now you can see where our connections are, and all these drop-down menus allow you to see where your connections are. So output 4 and output 2, as you can see over here on my AX.io, are going to my powered speakers. So that's selected. This is my audio interface, the AX.io, which I selected from the drop-down menu. You can see TONEX and what the computer is seeing, but right now I'm using the AX.io to achieve the modeling, the capture, I should say, and input output. So I'd use that. You can see output 4 and output 2 go out to my powered monitors from here. Over here, input 2 is where the microphone is. Obviously, the microphone is a Shure SM57 and what we're using. My input 1 is going to my Charvel over here, and you can see it from the front of the AX.io. That's where I'm plugged into. And then finally, this is important, my send to the rig, which is where it's going into the Ignator itself. What I have is output 5, which is, you'll see, it doesn't say it here, but this one says an amp out. So usually you'll see it in parentheses, but that's the amp out. Whatever one that has a parentheses amp out, that's where you're plugging into. And I'm coming out of the amp out from the front of the AX.io into the input of my Armageddon head. So now once all the connections are complete, and you can see there, I can move on to the next step, which is the check. Now I'm checking my input levels. Now don't get alarmed, you're not hearing the amp right now, you're just seeing, make sure you're not going into the red. There we go. Move on to the next step. Now we'll hear the amp. Now this is where you would check on the front of your AX.io your mic gain. This is where I make sure all my levels on my mic are correct. Okay, so you can see it's a little hot, so I'm going to bring it back down. It's right where I need it to be. Now let's move on to the next. This is the fun step. This is the capture bit. This is where things get pretty wild and wacky, where you'll hit the capture button, go get yourself a cup of coffee, and listen to the fireworks coming out of your amp. Pretty cool, huh? You got basically entertained with a lot of guitar fireworks as it was capturing the sound of the Ignator Armageddon on our lead channel here. That's a very cool thing. So now we're done with the capture. We move on to the next page. Now we're in the training area. There's an advanced selection here for high gain and fuzz style tones. Obviously, then there's fast for clean and overdriven tones. But generally, the optimal results, we like just the default works just as good. So here we go. We're going to stick with default. We're going to go to next. And right now it's doing the start default training where it's also getting that AI training. This will take a little bit longer than the capture process, so you may want to maybe go have lunch and come back. We have completed training, which is pretty much the second part of the capture process. Now my tone model is ready, so let's go on to the next step. We're going to check our connections again. I'm not sure we need to do that, but it's all good. Go back. Now we're here where we get to review. So this is what's really cool. You get to actually compare the tone model to your live rig. So let's take a listen how well it captured it. Here's my tone model. So there you go. You heard both the real rig and the tone model, and you can also fine tune the gain of your tone model if you need to. We love this. Now we'll go on to the next step, which is really cool, where you get to customize your tone model with the available skins that TONEX provides you. And since, there's a bunch of them to work with here, you can see. But since we're doing the Armageddon, we like this one because it looks like the Armageddon. So we select that and we move on to the final step, which is save. And over here is what we're going to do is what we're going to call our tone model. Once you fill out all the stuff all the pertinent details that you want, you can save and it goes right to the player. Right over here, you see my Egnator Armageddon went right to my tone model library over here. What's great is I can go to the librarian tab and you can see all the tone models that I have currently on my TONEX pedal. And I can simply go right here towards the end where I plan on doing this. I can take my Egnator, drop and drag it right here. I'm going to put it in bank B under 49, and then I'm going to take the selected preset. It'll overwrite what I currently have on my switch B and my bank 49. And boom, there it is. I have my Egnator Armageddon channel 3 setting. That's how easy it is to use. With the TONEX pedal, all your essential amp tones are now easily accessed in a robust and compact pedal that you can take anywhere and can easily adapt to your current setup or a number of other scenarios. Plus, with TONEX, you have access to IK Multimedia's ToneNet, where you can preview, share, and download other users' collections of profiles as well as IKs. Also, an honorable mention here is IK Multimedia's TONEX Capture, shown over here, which also works as a reamp box and also works wonderfully for their modeling section, so where you can capture any number of an amp head, amp and pedals, individual pedals. It's a great tool to have. Now, you don't need TONEX Capture in order to make a capture if you have other audio interfaces, but it's a great reamper and it's a great addition to the TONEX world. IK Multimedia's TONEX is the apex of their AI machine modeling technology, brought to you in a compact and affordable pedal. What's noteworthy is the pedal's singular focus as a powerful amp pedal that delivers astonishingly realistic amp captures to use live or in recordings. Bundle that with its connectivity, TONEX app, and the ToneNet online ecosystem, and the ability to model your own unique amplifier rig using the TONEX modeling software, and you have one of the most exciting amplifier pedals that can be used in a myriad of applications. Definitely check it out.